Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you look so tired. Some of you look relieved. Some of you look happy. Some of you look excited. Finally, we've reached the final few moments of our really wonderful two-day conference. If you liked it, can you please clap? Let me see the loudness of your claps. Mas they didn't clap. You didn't enjoy it? With a black hat, you didn't like it? Let's try again. This time, if you don't want to like it, don't clap, or else clap. You liked it? Yeah, there we go. Everybody's clapping. Excellent. To be honest, I thought this was excellent. Not that I'm a vested interest because I'm an organizer, but I thought the level of speakers, the level of interaction, the questions, just the diversity of the subjects was incredible, I thought. Really a wonderful opportunity for leaders to get together and just interact and understand agriculture a little bit better. So I really want to thank all of you for coming. I'm going to go through a vote of thanks in a minute, but I have a communique which I need to read out, which we're going to hand out to the press. And also we have a 10-point plan, which we're going to use for our basis of interaction with the government and COG and development agencies over the next year. So I just wanted to read it out. And then I'll do a vote of thanks, then I'll invite Dr. Wanga to come and do the vote of thanks on behalf of government, because today's event has been a joint event between ASNET and Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture has also funded a large portion of this event, so we're really, really grateful for government for being here. They've been with us throughout. We see Madam Faith is here from CareFace. We see lots of government people who have been here since the very beginning, since yesterday, so I think it's been a really wonderful partnership we've had. I'll read it out, and then if you don't have any massive objections, we'll adopt it. If you have any objections, please talk to Agat and we'll correct it. Is that okay? That's fine. There's more democracy for us. So this is the third National Agriculture Summit held at KICC on the 4th and 5th of July. The communication officially reads, the delegates representing various actors in the agriculture sector, namely the private sector actors, under the auspicious umbrella of ASNET, the public sector represented by Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, and indeed all stakeholders in the agriculture sector gathered at the KICC on 4th and 5th July for the third annual Agriculture Summit. The theme of the summit was Leaving No One Behind for Food and Nutrition Security and Agriculture Competitiveness. This joint summit hereby, 1, express the gratitude to all stakeholders, the sponsor organizations and partners for organizing a successful National Agriculture Summit 2023, which is a follow-up on the first and second summits held in February 2020 at Safari Park and in May 2022 at Calro headquarters respectively. The summit provided a forum for stakeholders to express their views on the state of the agriculture sector. 2, recognize the important role the agriculture sector has towards the performance of the Kenyan economy and hence the need to boost efforts towards improving the performance of the diverse value chains within the sector. The delegates aired the need for participants to implement recommendations and actions arising from the many fora held at various levels and periods that a new approach is needed to put an end to business as usual and assume a results-oriented approach to turn around the performance of the Kenya agriculture sector. 3, take note that the challenges associated with food systems transformation and the governance and the need for mechanisms to address the challenges through a concerted effort for all the stakeholders in the sector. There is therefore need to involve all the stakeholders and actors in addressing these challenges. 4, commend the important role played by the private sector in the agriculture sector and the need to raise awareness at the county level through creation of strong farm and private sector associations. The private sector roles within the value chain span across production, transportation, processing, marketing, and financing, amongst others. Just as a side, I think we need a lot more county government involvement, and we want to expand ASNET at county level, and this is one of the targets for us in the near future. We've already have 2 ASNETs in 2 counties, but we need to expand that much more. So if you have any thoughts about that, if you want to get involved, please see one of us and we'll discuss how we want to expand ASNET at the county level. 5, the urgent need for building the capacity and sensitize farmers associations, organizations, and other farmer platforms with regards to trade opportunities available by the presence of bodies like the African Free Trade Agreement in the country and at county level, and of course the UK and the EU EPA. Whilst the need for aggregation is likely to be addressed with the establishment of agro-business parks in various counties, there is need to sensitize farmers on the critical role that organized farmers groups can play, and especially in addressing long-term challenges of unscrupulous business. 6, highlight the serious concern in the field owing to a lack of adequate extension services, which has led to farmers and other stakeholders being left out on their own with regard to source of agriculture information. Other innovative sources such as the ICTs to complement the few available extension workers. The ICT session today was amazing, was excellent, and I think we got some positive comments on that. 7, acknowledge the bumper crop that is expected and call upon government and the private sector to make arrangements for the collection and storage of the grain and other food that will soon be harvested. This will ensure the country remains self-reliable in food, and food importation budget goes towards transforming value chains. Specifically, the summit has 10 action points, which I'll just quickly read out. 1, involve academia and research, civil society and consumers in the monthly public-private roundtables with Ministry of Agriculture, the State Departments of Fishery and the Blue Economy, State Department cooperatives. The dialogue platform should take place once every month and should be co-chaired by the private sector and cabinet secretary appointee. Further, the commitment by the CS to engage frequently in the private sector, the summit further proposes a once every 4 months ASNET and cabinet secretaries roundtable. Very important. 2, agriculture for industry. The farmer should produce for markets in supporting the bottom-up economic agenda and the Kenya Kwanza government agenda. The agro-processor, the farmer must minimize the information asymmetry and facilitate industry commitments for off-takers. To map out producers, especially for cotton, leather, pyrethrum, edible oils, and other key value chains in processing and local textile and apparel sector. That's why I think the KM, I think we need to include their name in this one. They should be part of that value chains. The cereal millers, we talked about them yesterday. Number 3 and 4, allow private sector to access 500,000 acres available government land for production in order to boost food security efforts. 4, agree timelines for outstanding payments owed to cereal millers and re-engage with them to buy the huge maize harvest in October. 5, work with the private sector to implement the National Agriculture Extension Policy so as to strengthen extension services. The new policy underscores the increased role of private sector in extension service delivery and innovative extension mechanisms, including digital forums. This will lead to more youth mainstream in the agriculture sector. 6, boost private sector extension efforts by ensuring agro-professional bills is discussed in Parliament. 7, involve the more than 10,000 agro-dealers, agro-vets, and fertilizer companies in the fertilizer subsidy program for the benefit of all and for easy access by all farmers. Allow all 9 fertilizer blending factories in the fertilizer subsidy program and not limited to 2 only. 8, cascade ASNET to the devolved units and create awareness of opportunities under the Africa Free Trade Agreement and leverage on existing local trade opportunities, farmer associations and organizations and involvement in trade. 9, we spoke, I think Mr. Mbadi spoke about this, admit ASNET in intergovernment organs, IGF, JASCOM, CASCOM, SWAG for coherence and formulation of favorable policies and enabling business environment and creation of intergovernmental, interministerial consultative forums with private sector for coherence of cross-cutting policy. I think that's important, Agatha. It wasn't clear as it should be in it, not as a dotted line, I think. I think we need to talk to Stanley about this later on. 10, and the final one, together with the private sector, create awareness of new food safety policy and build capacity of the private sector actors under the new food safety policy and the food and feed safety coordination bill 2021 as food business operators both at national and county level. In general terms, is everybody happy with that? Can we adopt it? If there's anything really pending, tell me and we'll add it right now. Otherwise, are we happy? If we're happy, put your hand up. Yes, with overall. Yes, overall. All right, so we have relatively unanimous conclusion on this one. If there's any major burning issues, we can add it on. After this is not a problem. We are a democratic organization. Finally, I want to say a quick vote of thanks to a number of very important people, starting with our sponsors. I see Armin was here earlier on from GIZ, but Armin has been extremely important to ASNET because he's been helping us from the very beginning. GIZ and the German government have been amazing for us, and we really wanted to thank them. We also wanted to thank, of course, KEPSA, CAM, Chamber, and my friend Sari from UNSDG for setting up ASNET in the very beginning. Sari, we acknowledge your presence and thank you for your assistance over the years. Of course, we want to thank development partners, in particular, GIZ Kenya I mentioned, AGRA, FAO, USAID funded KCDMS project, and many other partners. Also, I want to quickly thank the British High Commission through the KT and Global Alliance Africa project. I mentioned AGRA, I mentioned FAO, USAID, Kenya Crops and Dairy, I talked about them. RTI International Cereal Millers Association. I wanted to thank, of course, Agatha and her team, Henry and Winnie and Jane, and really amazing bunch of people who organized today. Again, if you're happy, clap your hands for Agatha. Sorry, I promise you 10 more minutes and I'm finished. Agatha, you did a fantastic job. Winnie, well done. Just stand up, Winnie. Where's Henry? Stand up, guys. I really cannot say enough thanks to all three of you. Day and night you've been working on this one. Well done. I wanted to thank the whole organizing committee. I wanted to thank everybody who came yesterday, the CS, the PS, the PS, directors of government, really amazing support from government, really, Faith, go back and tell your people, we were incredibly proud and happy to have so many government people with us. We had PCBB, CAREFACE, Calro, everybody was with us holding our hands, and everybody spoke proudly that the association with ASNET is important and the private sector is important. I think that's a very important statement to make, because government is usually quite suspicious of private sector, but I think we're breaking the barriers. Have I finished everybody? I think I have. Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Trade and Industry, Treasury, and the rest of the ministries. I want to thank everybody. Dr. Wanga, please tell your team at Ministry we're extremely happy and proud of their support. I think I've finished, haven't I? I've covered everybody? Agatha? I have, right? You're looking. Let me ask all government to stand up. Isn't that the better way? Just let everybody from government stand up, and we can acknowledge their presence right till the end. Look at that. I hope you're being paid overtime to be with us today. Thank you very much indeed. Asante sana. I would like to now invite my good friend, Wanga, to come up front and close this session on behalf of government, because as private sector we are closed. Asante sana.